I'd like to welcome everybody to the impasse hearing between the administration and AFF. You know, the month of May in Memphis, you can be guaranteed of three things: music, barbecue, and impasse. Y'all ready to get started? I'm going to give, y'all certainly don't need 30 minutes each side, right? Let's go to 15. Sound good? Oh, yeah, I'll give time for Q&A. All right, administration, I'm going to let you go first. Floor is yours.
Boucher, Chief Human Resources Officer. Lynette Hall Lewis, Deputy HR.
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Ms. Golden, would you please call the roll?
Councilman Ford. Here. Councilwoman Green. Present. Chair Canales.
Chair is present. All right, you may proceed.
I am here today to present the city's impasse presentation for IAFF. First, I would just want to go over the roles and responsibilities. The association is the advocate for their members. The administration is an advocate for all employees and citizens, and the city council would choose the best package that's in the best interest of the citizens. So with IAFF, this was the only association where their entire book was open. It wasn't just limited to wages. We met 7 times during the March 2024 labor negotiations process. The city and IAFF agreed to almost all economic and non-economic items, including increase to mileage and detail compensation, increase to uniform allowance, and to create a bilingual language plate incentive for firefighters and dispatchers. At the negotiation deadline, the city's last best offer was a 2% wage increase for 1 year. IAFF rejected. Their last best offer was a 3-year agreement with a 5% increase in FY25, a 5% increase in FY26, and a 10% increase in FY27.
That's not for 27 was re-out.
Okay. After reviewing the internal equity, the city revised its offer in the total economic package, and we did revise it to 3% and a $1,500 bonus. Ordinance number 5639, 7 days before the mayor's budget address, the city presents the total economic package to the associations, and then the associations have 48 hours to respond in writing. So the city's economic package, again, for Article 35 wages was a 3% increase for FY25 and a $1,500 one-time bonus that would be paid from vacancies in FY24. And then we also wanted a one-term for MOU, and then everyone will be able to participate next year, including IAFF in the next negotiation period, and then a 3-term agreement for IAFF is what they requested. This is a slide from the mayor's budget presentation that shows that this is a budget dedicated to the people and employees, with 72% of the total budget being dedicated to employees. It is the city's position that all city employees should receive the same percentage increase for 1 year only. Mayor Young focused on creating a balanced budget that was fair to all employees. A higher increase for one group would create compression and other inequities. A higher increase would also create challenges for future budgets. The financial impact to the city's proposal cost is $4.4 million, and that is the 3% wage increase and a $1,500 bonus, which is an average equivalent percentage of 5%. The IAFF for FY25, the cost with compression would be $7.4 million, which is almost $3 million more than the city's FY25 proposal. And then if you see the FY '26 request and the FY '27 request, we're looking at a 3-year total of $33 million. The next slide shows the history of the increases in bonuses that have been given to IAFF since January 2016. And in July 2023, IAFF did receive a 5% plus a 9% increase. So Mayor Young asked us to focus on fairness for all employees and to maintain a balanced budget. We asked that council agree with our position that IAFF should not receive a higher raise than other city employees and only approve an increase for 1 year. Any questions?
Colleagues, you want to ask questions now, or you wait for IAFF to go? Okay. Mr. Malone, Mr. Conklin, I'm going to let you all present, and then I'm going to open the floor to questions. And then if there's any rebuttal from either side, I'll let you go at that point.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I want to thank you for being here, but first of all, I want to apologize for us being here. Our number one goal when we entered the negotiations this year was to try to come up with an agreement that did not go to impasse. I agree with you, Chairman. Every May is at an impasse, and everybody thinks it's fun and games. It puts our lives on hold for now 2 or 3 months. We can do nothing but work on this budget and this presentation. So as you heard, I did want to correct on one thing, the figures that the city gave. The 10% was a earlier proposal that we made and took it out for our final offer. After talking with some of the council, we put a proposal in for 5% in January of 24, 5% for January of 25, July of 25, and then a reopener in July of 26. One thing I would like to get straight, where I don't have to fool with it, we've got 2 articles that are impasse. Now, they put a lot of stuff up on the board that we agreed with that started impasse. It's all in the fire department budget. Their last offer agreed to a 3-year contract. It just had a different concept of the way it was going to be handled, where what was going to be done in those years. So if it's okay with the chair and the committee, we'd like to agree that the 3-year article that's impasse was actually settled with 3 years. The city agreed to 3 years, but they want a 3% with a reopener and a reopener, and we got a 3-year. So I don't think Article 47 is at play because we've got an agreement on a 3-year contract regardless of how it hits out. I'll do whatever I want to. It's not a big deal to me, but if the article that we're focused on, Article 35, was in July 1 of 24, we requested a 5% increase in July 26, 25, another 5%. We also, if you look on the proposal I gave you, Article 35, on lines 18, you'll see a green line under a figure. That was fire driver salary. We did bring that salary up prior to this budget being produced, or the impasse. That was the reason, because we never did know if the city agreed to that or not at the table, but that was because paramedics were taking a decrease in pay when they got promoted to fire driver. A paramedic would make driver, they would make a decrease in pay. But when they drove and acted as a paramedic, they got paramedic pay. So we brought the fire driver's pay up equal to what a paramedic was. And then the pay would be adjusted to 5% effective July 1 of 2024. Now, the city said that that we're about $3.5 million apart on what their proposal is and what ours is. We figured that our proposal, the 5% for our bargaining unit, which is around 1,500 people, is about $7.4 million as a city. We will agree with that. So we're about $3 million apart. So I would submit that that's less than 3 pennies on the property tax roll. We're 3 pennies apart with the city as far as what we're requesting and what they're offering. Now, the city was right. We figured it up, the $1,500 bonus, which was not offered. I didn't hear that in the mayor's budget, but I don't know where that's coming from. I'm not saying it, but if that $1,500 bonus was carried out the whole year, the other 11 months, we would all be about right at the same page of about 5%. So if you look at the document I gave you on the paramedic pay, that's a hot topic around this area. Bear in mind the city compared us to a lot of different cities around the country. Kansas City, Denver, all these. When we went to comparing all these cities like that, we were so far behind that we realistically couldn't come to this body and say that we're making a decent proposal. That's how far we're behind on cities our size. So we compared ourselves to Collierville, Germantown, Shelby County mainly. We have Arlington in there, but that was just because of there's going to be a lot happening out in Arlington with Blue Oval, and we're aware of what's going on. So if you look at Memphis, we average about 515 calls a day. I'm not going to put down anybody else in the county or in these other suburban areas. They got their job to do. But if you can look at Germantown, they make $4,300 a year more than our paramedics. Arlington makes $4,400 a year more than our paramedics. We just saw on the way up here that Germantown just put out a request for hiring for all ranks in the fire department. Collierville, as our team did our work while we were working on this, we found out Collierville's building a new fire station. They're going to need 12 to 15 paramedics. We know the county's getting 6%. We know that the Germantown and Collierville are getting 5%. If that's the case, and the city side is taken, then Memphis liable to become number 4 of the surrounding areas. Not people our size. Now I know y'all heard the budget proposal yesterday of $1.5 million for recruitment. That's why we have to spend so much money going around the country trying to get people to come here, because where we used to draw from these suburban areas, now we can't get them to even touch us because they would take a cut and pay to come over here. So there's not a lot of presenting on what we're looking here at Article 35. We're talking about 3 cents or less. During negotiations, the city said that 1 penny of property tax was worth $1.4 million. So as you can see by the city that we agree with their statement, we're about $3.5 million apart. That's less than 3 cents. So the thing is, this is not about trying to get more money than other units. This is about trying to hang on to our people. As you heard the chief yesterday talk about all the recruitment we did, in 2023, we hired 223 people. We lost 224. We've just had 5 or 6 just in the past week or two. And they're not going anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. They're staying home. All they got to do is change shirts. They don't have to change homes. They don't have to change their kids' schools. All they got to do is change a shirt. Same hours, same church, same everything. So what we're asking you to do today is vote on our proposal based on the fact that we're trying to retain. We're not trying to get ahead. Right now, out of all these areas, surrounding areas, we're number 3 in pay. I understand times are tough, but we're number 3 in pay. We're going to keep going, and these other people, and what's so frustrating, and I'm going to use Collierville because they're the best at it, when they hire our people, they put it on Facebook. And they say, thanks, we got 3 or 4 more Memphis firefighters, paramedics over here. We don't have to train them. They're ready to hit the street in 2 more days. So we have got to stop something to stop the bleeding. As you saw, we went to a reopener. As the city said, we're the only ones that were at contract negotiation for the full contract. We're asking to stay level. We're not asking to try to pass these people this year. We're looking at 3 years down the road where there is an opportunity to do some work like this. But it's going to take us 5% just to try to stay level. We're going to lose ground just based on the percentage. But if we don't do something, we're going to continue to train these people. We might as well just call us the Memphis Fire Department Training Facility, because that's what we're doing is we're training these people. I just got off the phone this morning. One of my buddies in California, 3 of their people came back. So we're asking you to support these people that work for you hard every day. They've got the hardest job around in this area. They got one of the hardest jobs in the country. And all we're asking is to stay level and let people quit robbing our folks. And we're asking for support of the firefighters and the men and women that bust their humps every day. And 5%, I think, is very well within their realm of being able to produce. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Malone. Would you like to respond? Or you want me to go to questions from my colleagues? All right, colleagues, I know Councilwoman Green has some questions. Councilman Ford?
I don't think they want to hear my question.
All right, Councilwoman Green, you go first.
No, I don't know, but I am intrigued. Okay, I'm going to say it again because we're in a new impasse meeting, new group here. I do not think the administration should be working towards bonuses, one-time bonuses over pay raises. You last time showed us what the percentage was for the $1,500, and it was over 5%. And so I think that, I mean, I don't know the math right now, but between the 3% and the $1,500 bonus, y'all have to be almost at the same amount, if not maybe more. And again, and it's a similar thing with a 1-year MOU versus a 3-year MOU. Councilman Canale don't want to be back here every year. I don't either. But more importantly, the firefighters don't want to be back here every year. They want to be able to plan for their families and for their lives. And I think that is what's really fair. What's really fair is paying people what they're worth. And we have one of the best fire departments in the nation. And they're underpaid in our surrounding area. And I would say to the administration, you know, you keep bringing slides where you want everyone to be treated fairly. I have 3 kids, and I have to tell them all the time, being treated fairly does not mean being treated the same. And this mayor has said over and over again, he wants a pandemic-level response to public safety. Fire is a vital part of public safety. And we can't pretend that people in the C-suite getting a 3% raise is the same as the people out in the streets saving lives is the same. I do work on the other side of the street. There is a 6% pay raise that is being proposed, and that job, frankly, is easier out in the county and in these other suburbs. And it is important not only to talk about the fact that, you know, I know you talk about the cost of benefits and the cost of pension. There's another cost that you're not talking about, and that is the cost of losing employees and having to replace them. I mean, the average cost in the city of Memphis for any employee to replace an employee is $40,000. That is marketing, that is HR, recruitment. Paperwork is $40,000 per employee. He said they lost over 200 last year. Multiply that out. We have to talk about true cost when we talk about, well, it will cost money to put into their benefits and their pension too. It will, but it will also cost us money not to do it. I'm not sure why we're continuing on this same road in these negotiations when, frankly, y'all are in true numbers so close that we're having to come in front of council and say, we're almost at 5%, we're at 5% another way, but we can't agree. I need more adults in the room, I guess. I need us to step up and find a way to agree. But I don't think anything that's been asked here is unreasonable. I don't have anything else, Chair.
Thank you, Councilwoman Green. Councilman Ford Sr.
Evening, everybody. My concern goes back to when we had a meeting. I need to know about the $10 million short. First of all, I know you were mentioning recruitment, everything else. I've done a little research. It shouldn't have been $10 million, maybe 4, okay? Not only that, when you were saying recruitment, if you did recruitment and then you added up their pay, somebody just come out would have made about $99,000, more than some of them that's been working, okay? Those are my concerns, okay? people act like they didn't know what was going on. Everybody knew. Well, certain ones knew. Didn't want to say anything about it, okay? I'm letting everybody know, okay? We got a lot going on right now. We got a new administration and everything else. You know, I've got to vote no right now. Reasons why I'm gonna vote no, because, hey, as full council, we can change anything, okay? But right now, we're going through a budget, whereas, hey, you mentioned across the street, they don't know if they're gonna get that because, hey, you know, that may not even be legal what they're trying to do because they're trying to take away from the sheriff's department, okay? That ain't gonna happen, you know, statewide. That's what I'm saying. Hey, so let's be for real right this minute, okay? You know, a lot of them, police, fire, yeah, we train them and they go where they ain't gotta really do no work, okay? But you got all these other municipalities, hey, they feed off of us, okay? So I'm looking at quite a few different things. And, you know, when you come to impasse, you got to go one way or the other. I wish y'all would have ended up trying to go to the middle, okay? Because, like I said, numbers are very important right now. The mayor wants to at least have a 75-cent tax increase. That ain't gonna happen. But, you know, we want to make sure everybody can live pretty decent right now for this year. Next year we can come back because if you go back in the past, you know, and Mayor Strickland, good mayor, I have no problem. We should have done a lot of things 2 or 3 years ago, okay, that we did not do. And if everybody cares about the city of Memphis, you really, hey, do your homework and see where we fall in right now and what problems we're having. You know, we cannot survive unless all of us kind of work together right this minute, okay? But, you know, let's survive this year. The next year may be much, much better once we get over this hurdle that we have. A lot of people don't understand. We don't want to, and I always say, and people look at me, I don't want to be Jackson, Mississippi. Okay? I'm just being honest with you all, okay? And I could say a lot more, but like I said, hey, I'm going to be quiet. Y'all heard what I said, especially about that 10 million. And, you know, I want to keep our ratings up. All of us going to be in bad shape, okay? You got these other municipalities, hey, they feed off us not only with fire, police, school system, okay? School system won't so much, but shucks. You kind of know where I'm coming from. But like I said, hey, but we can always deal with this during full council. And I think everybody may be happy in the end. Okay? Thank you.
Councilman, would you like me to respond to that?
You can.
Sure, I'd love to.
Yeah.
Is that good, Mr. Chairman? I understand everything you just said. So let me say some things, and you and I know we go way back together. So let me just say some things everybody else is scared to say. I'm just like you.
Go right.
So number one, when we went to negotiations, we went with of coming to the middle, hopefully. Mm-hmm. We knew kind of what we needed. We were looking for a 3-year contract to start with. And as Councilman and Councilwoman Green said, we don't want to be here any more than anybody else. So we went in negotiations long and hard, and on the last day was the first day we'd gotten a wage increase offer. We were there 9 hours. They rented the convention center up here. We were there 9 hours, and we were on the record for 43 minutes in 9 hours of trying to come to the middle, as you say. On the $10 million, and I'm going to speak out of school here, but I've done a little research myself. That is something to do with this year's budget, as you know. And as we got to find out about it, it was not rookie salaries there. These were dedicated salaries that 101 positions had been taken out of that budget by the previous administration, which nobody knows, but I've done some research, and I know Chief Sweat brought it to somebody's attention. Of course, this was after the fact that we found out. And, of course, y'all made it right. and rightfully so, because these people had to get paid. But it was not anything that we had done through our recruitment or anything else that we talked about. The recruitment is based on the fact of we can't recruit around here because we can't compete with Germantown and Kyville, just putting it plain. And as you know, back in your early times on the council, we used to recruit those people, and they'd come on the Memphis Fire Department and the police department because we were paying way more than those. They got wise. So I don't want you to think that we're here for a money grab or anything, or it was something that we didn't take care of business. We don't do the recruitment. That's done by the city and the fire department. This is just strictly something for our union members that are doing the work. And the bottom line is, as you know, in the funeral business, there's so many funeral homes, everybody shops. They don't necessarily get the best funeral guy. They yeah. Well, they go into your family. But anyway, I'm saying that the bottom line here is we're not here saying we're better than anybody else. We do have one of the best fire departments. I'm also a field rep Fire International that I travel 5 states. And everybody around asked me, is the workload here as bad as it is? All we're trying to do now, when we came up with the figure, is and you saw the city said we had 10% up there for that 3rd year because we know what's coming in 26. We took that out because, as you well know, it's Mayor Young's first term. We felt like it was not right to try to put him under the gun with that kind of money, but we knew 5% is coming for the next 2 years for the surrounding areas. Now, the 3rd year, if we want to play catch-up baseball, then that's fine. We'll bring in a hitter. But I didn't want you to think that we were trying to come here and you know, some of these others, and I keep up with these other unions, they're not losing people the way we are. Last year, we lost all that number. We're still losing about an average of 4 to 6 a month still now. In some cases, we can't control it. In other cases, we can. And this is the only way that we know that we can try to control it. So I just wanted you to know that I'm curious about why the administration would do what they did to the #1 fire department in the country and leave us 101 people short. But that is something that y'all corrected. And so, but it's not in our proposals or anything on the recruitment. This is just strictly salary. Thank you.
Look, I know we got one of the best fire departments, but I'm going to give you an instance. I had a heart attack at my house. Paramedics came in and told me they couldn't take me to the hospital I wanted to go to. I got out the ambulance. I let my son drive me. That was very insulting. You don't have to answer. I'm still here and alive. But if I would have been, hey, ain't no policy on that because I talked with you, Chief. You know, I mentioned that to you, okay? That's why you don't have to answer the question, okay? Yeah. You know, let me go back some. Years ago, the first thing that the paramedics would ask, do you have a red, white, and blue card? You know what that is? That's a Medicare card. Okay. If you had one of those, hell, I'd stop you by the house, the grocery store, or anywhere else, and then I'd take you to the hospital. I'm very serious. Very serious. That's the way it used to be. But like I said, I had a heart attack. And I am a council person. Okay? But that's how I was treated in an ambulance that I got out of. I said, that's okay. I have vehicles here. I wouldn't. Oh, okay. I'm through. You know how to answer. But I know we got a great fire department trying to work it out. But hey, everybody need to work this together. I'm just being honest because we still in budget. Y'all don't understand. Y'all will, though. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Ford. Chief Fouché, I have a couple of questions. Councilman Green mentioned what the average cost of replacing an employee is. I would, and I don't know if you know it off the top of your head, maybe Chief Sweat knows, what it costs to send someone through the fire academy. You have just a ballpark, and I'm not going to hold you to it.
I've got an average price.
Okay. The $1,500 bonus that you're proposing, you're basing that on how many firefighters?
The $1,500 bonus is just being based off vacancies from FY.
No, I know where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
How many are you projected, how many firefighters are you projected to pay that $1,500 to?
It would be everybody.
Which is how many?
The total complement of firefighters. Let me get.
So what did you say yesterday, Chief? 18, 19? But we're under. So that's roughly, it's somewhere between $2.5 and $2.7 million that you're going to take out to provide bonuses. I agree with Councilwoman Green. I'd rather see it go to salaries because it's the number one thing for those that stick with us, that are going to stick with us. They're concerned about retirement. They're concerned about their future. $1,500 bonus doesn't go, not that I'm saying that it's nothing and to snub your nose at it, but it doesn't go towards their pension, towards their retirement. The $1,500 bonus goes towards the pension?
They'll be counted towards their pension.
Okay. I was under the understanding that it was not.
No, it would.
Okay. And the projections from the 3 years that you had for FY 25, 26, 27 on what you said that IAFF was requesting, the 5, 5, and 10, help me understand the math. So you say it's 7.386 million for FY 25, 7.386 million for 26, but then it jumps to 17. Where's the other 2.3 million come from?
I just looked at this slide, and there is a typo with the FY 26 numbers. And then I need to go back with my last best offer regarding the FY 27 10% increase.
Okay.
Yeah. That's where I noticed that too when we were going over the presentation.
Okay. I'll restate what I said yesterday during the budget hearing is we made a concerted effort last year with this council, Mayor Strickland, that we knew we were behind for our first responders, both police and fire, and we needed to do something drastic. And the 14% went a long way in getting us where we needed to be, but we all agreed that we needed to keep them at the top. Otherwise, we barely can tread water. And my concern, and I know police is done, I'm not trying to say that police and fire are the same. My concern with fire, since we're only talking about fire right now, is we lose too many in that 5 to 7 year period, and we lose possibly a generation of senior leadership that teach valuable lessons in the field. So if we continue to pay to train the best and continue to lose them to Germantown, Collierville, Shelby County, I don't know, North Mississippi's poaching and West Memphis, I don't know, but I know that everybody knows that we're one of the top departments in the country. They know that we're going to train them right and train them well, and so they're going to come after them as soon as we get them trained and ready to go because they're going to offer more money. It's hard to recruit somebody and retain them when you say, come here, do 100 times the work where you are in another department, and we're going to pay you less money. So I'm through with my remarks. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, before you stop, can I say one more thing? So I think Chief Sweat was talking about the $12,000, what it costs to get through the academy. What we did is figure up, and we try to figure up about a 3 year, we're losing people. 53% of our jobs got 6 years or less on the job, and we're losing them at that 3, 4, 5 year mark. So we looked at about a 3 year firefighter paramedic, and we figured out that the city has been out for just a regular firefighter EMT after 3 years over $100,000 and about $300,000 for a firefighter paramedic over a 3 year period. It's pretty simple arithmetic, so I just thought I'd throw that out there because that's kind of what we're looking at, and that's what these surrounding areas are looking at when you talk to their training people, how much they are getting our people for no training, and that's saving them a lot of money, which they're converting into salary and benefits. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I know you mentioned $1,500, but you didn't mention, this is a one-time, right? You didn't mention one time. You mentioned that if they paid them 15,
Yes.
it would equal out. Yes. Okay. This is one time. I just want everybody to know that. Yeah. Not every, thank you. Correct.
Any other questions, comments? I'll entertain a motion in support of IAFF or the administration. We're trying to clarify some information, so let's pause for just a minute, and then I'll entertain a motion for either side. We can. We're going to recess for 5 minutes. We'll be right back.
1 year, and I have their document here. Ms. Fauché had the wrong document. They agreed, as I stated earlier in the meeting, they agreed to a 3-year contract, just with a 3%. I didn't hear anything about the $1,500 bonus, but it was a 3%, a reopener, and a reopener. So I want to make sure that regardless of what happens, I know this has got to go to full council. I want to make sure we go with the right materials, and also the 10% that they proposed on our 3rd year. We pulled that, and our final offer was a 5-5 and a reopener. So not 20% over this contract. It was $30 million or whatever. The real document is we are all agreed on the 3-year contract, and I want to make sure that that's on record. I think I sent y'all their last offer yesterday. So they got three 1-year things in there, and then on the 3rd year, the 10% was put down to a reopener.
Okay, so from what I understand from our legal counsel is that since the city did not propose anything but year 1 for economic, that we can't vote on a 3-year deal today.
Well, let me repeat that.
Because they proposed a 1 year, a reopener, and a reopener. IAFF proposed a 5-5 and a reopener.
Sure, we've done it for many years.
And we can't compare the.
From Allen Way, because they're not the same, it makes it non-economic. And so the only truly economic cost comparison we have is the 1st year. The 1st and the 3rd year match up, but the 2nd year is a non-economic decision for you guys outside of our purview, whether or not you are doing a wage opener or not, because they're not the same. In the previous years, when we've had 3-year deals, both the city and the employee association have proposed percentage increases for the years and agreed upon the wage opener. When they're different, it would put the council in a space of trying to decide a non-economic portion as to whether or not to have a wage opener, which ventures them outside of their powers at impasse. That's the only difference.
Ms. Hammond, with all due respect, I've done this a long time. I don't care what Mr. Wade said. He's a very smart man, but he didn't invent the wheel. And I'm telling you that we've done 3-year contracts many, many, many times with a figure, and a reopener. We just did it in 21. They're never going to match it impasse. I understand that, but the thing I'm saying is, regardless of what anybody says, you know, as Mr. Ford said earlier, he's been here a long time. I've been here since 1969. And I can tell you, this used to be the habit. When we redid this impasse procedure in 2017, this was expected. I mean, we can't sit here and negotiate against the city and say, well, y'all got to put a number on there if they don't want to do it when we're negotiating. We can't sit here and say, well, they put a 0, so we got to put a 0. That didn't even make walk around sense. So I don't understand, because it's been done before. So if it can't be done here, how can it be done at full council?
Did the city propose anything in year 2?
We had 1 year.
So you didn't propose 0, you just proposed nothing.
Right, yeah, we did the 3%, the 1,500, and the 1 and to reopen in 1 year. 1 year term, a 1 year term wage opener.
So I think that's where the hangup is that it's not that you didn't propose a no increase. You didn't mention anything about it at all. Right. It said that it would be renegotiated.
Yes.
Can I ask a basic question? Were
You
you
may.
at the negotiations?
We have a team.
No, that's not the question.
No, I'm not there. I'm not there
Okay,
as the chief.
so I
human
think
resources.
that's like a big issue right now, is she's giving us hearsay, information that has been told to her. And I'm not saying that what you're presenting is incorrect in your view, but, you know, we have Mr. Malone here saying nobody said anything about 15% and they agreed to 3 years. You're over here, or 1,500. You're over here saying we definitely said 1,500 and we were only talking about 1 year, but you weren't in the room. And so I would like somebody from the administration who was in the room. Just to be fair, because you were there. I know y'all were
We
there.
have people here that were in the room.
No, Councilwoman, just to be clear and honest, they proposed during the cooling off period the $1,500 bonus, the
Okay.
3% and $1,500 bonus. Where I did not hear anything on the $1,500 bonus was at presentation of the to the council, because he presented 3%.
Look, here's my point. We have. Will you pull up your slide where you have your side and their side?
The 1,500.
Hold on. Go back one. You were almost there. Just back one. This slide is not correct.
Right.
And that's the slide. Yes, this is the slide. This slide is not correct. And this is the slide that's supposed to lay out for us the two sides. And it's hard for us to take a vote on what, one side versus the other when we literally don't have, either in your presentation or the person presenting to us, somebody who is in the room with the offer. So I don't feel comfortable moving forward. I'm gonna be honest with you. My position is, I think what they're asking for is reasonable, and it is almost economically probably better on our end to do what they're asking. But we don't have your right information. We don't have their right information in front of us. So, Chair, it'd be, I think, in our best, my best advice, like the lawyer in me, is going to say that we need to send this to the full committee and get the right information in front of us from both sides. Because right now, I'm just hearing like 3 or 4 different things. I would like a very clean slide. I would like for it to be the last offers on both sides. And I would like for somebody who was actually in the room from the administration to be present. Yes, sir. Yes, that's what I said. That's what I said, Brooke.
I'm gonna text it to you.
Brooke, but 47 that's up there on that slide, which we have no say-so.
Yes, that's correct.
Right.
Okay.
What do you mean you have no say-so?
Only thing the council has purview on is economic. If our Article 47, we don't have any, that has to be between the union and the administration.
We agreed at the table that 47 was an economic item. That is done at the table. We set the ground rules, and 47 was deemed as an economic item.
Again, this is why I think we need to send it down and have somebody who's in the room from the administration side to say yes or no to that.
So can I get a clarification, please, sir?
Yes, sir. And somebody explained to me what
I'm really
Article-
getting lost here.
What?
Because at the table, we got tapes for the table. We taped that. So nobody can't say what happened and what was agreed there. It's on tape. The city agreed their last offer, I've got it in this packet that you all have, to a 3-year contract. They agreed on that's what they sent as their last best economic offer, a 3% and a reopener next year and a reopener in 26. We agreed on the reopener in 26. We needed something to retain our people. As I told y'all, 53% of our people have 6 years or less. A $1,500 bonus is not going to retain those people. In 5 years, we're going to be sitting here with 11-year lieutenants and 15-year chiefs and nothing in the middle. That's what our concern was. I don't know where they came up with this stuff, but that's my whole point. We spent 9 hours on the last day, and we were at the table 43 minutes. It's on tape. This isn't Thomas Malone saying anything and telling you what's what. It's all on tape. That's what's frustrating to me. We talked on tape, at least for a little bit, and all these times that they're talking about how great things were 7 times in a month. And now we come here and we've been, I don't know where Mr. Wade's getting his information. I trust he's very, very smart, but we've done this many, many times. We've had a 3-year contract all the way back from Wyatt Chandler to up to now, where the city has proposed 0, 0, 0.
Right. I don't think anybody's arguing that. I think that the problem is that they proposed nothing.
So a reopener is not a 0? When we proposed the 5%, we proposed a 5% and they proposed a reopener. To us, that was a 0. That's the way we took it. I believe if you listen to the tape, I'm going to say, you're telling me you don't want to give them nothing?
I'm going to defer to the lawyer on this one. I don't know if a reopener will be classified as offering a 0 or saying we're going to figure it out next year.
I'd like to remind this body that's exactly what happened in 1978.
Well, again, I agree with, I think I was very clear at the start of this meeting that I think the proposal by the fire union is reasonable, and it's just not what's being presented, say, on this slide or from the administration, because they say their third year is a reopener. They also say that there has been a 3-year contract agreement. I would like to confirm from somebody from the administration that that is true. So, Mr. Malone, I'm on your side. I just don't have the right people from the administration in front of me right now to back up, because I wasn't in the room and I don't have the tapes. And so that's why, and I'll be making the same case when it goes to the full council, that they should be agreeing with your increase. Because doing 3% and 1,500 doesn't make any sense to me either. So, but for now, with the information that we have, I move to send this down with no recommendation and attach whatever the proposals are from both sides, the actual proposals, for decision by the full council on the May 21st meeting.
Mr. Chairman, may I say something before you vote?
Yes, sir.
So, Chairwoman Green, let me say this. I think what you're seeing, what you're seeing up here is a good indication of what in the hell we went through for a month and a half. Because one day you look at something and the next day it's changed. Now, this has been going on since March the 3rd. And I'm looking up there that this is stuff that has been settled at the table. And now we're sitting here fighting what we fought at the table, and now they're confusing y'all for everything that's going on. I would have loved to left the 10% in there.
I think we just want them here so we can hold them accountable and ask them the questions directly. And I don't mean that as any slight to you as the director of HR, but I want the people who are at the table.
Before we vote, I'll make one final comment that I think I've made it very clear that I support the firefighters. I support the wage increase. I know how important it is for recruitment and retention. I know what kind of job that they are faced with each and every day. And I intend to support them in full council. The results of this impasse meeting ultimately mean nothing until it comes to full council anyway. So I'm disappointed in the way that this turned out. It could have been much clearer and concise, much more concise. It didn't even need to get to this. So hopefully that we've learned some lessons going forward. I know this was the first wage negotiation, first union negotiation with this administration, but hopefully we've had some valuable lessons learned. So, Councilman Ford, did you second that that motion? All those in favor of sending this to full council on the 21st with no recommendation signify by saying aye. Aye. I'm a no. That item passes, so we will see you, Mr. Malone, Mr. Conklin, and the administration, hopefully with somebody with some well-prepared answers.
Can I make one comment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Y'all, please forgive me again. I like the administration. I like the union. You know, I know we got Alan Wade, okay? He must be at this table because a lot of the things have been changed. Because I asked questions yesterday, and they said 2021 some things was changing, which I don't know why. Okay? And if things were changed, it could have been changed the wrong way and not the right way. Okay, because I don't see nothing like what you were saying. Hey, it's been done how many years? So why? I'm having issues with that. That's one reason why I say I want, because I need to bring everybody to the table and full council to make this, you know, really happen. And I think everybody be happy in the end, you know. But like I said, yesterday I was kind of despondent on what, you know, was read, you know, and I like lawyers. There's nothing wrong with a lawyer. But you know, before
Even
lawyers,
recovering attorneys.
but before lawyers, but before lawyers, it was two people: the undertaker and the preacher. And I can always go back to that. We made the majority of the laws. Y'all just kind of carried everything out as lawyers. I'm very serious now, you know. And maybe when some of these lawyers came in, they changed it, which wasn't good. Okay, that's why I want everybody at the table. So please, hey, that's one reason. I you know, for clarification and everything else, because I feel your frustration. Okay, I don't understand it. You don't understand it, and sometimes I don't think the administration understands it fully either. So hey, all of us need to be at this table and then see what's going on. Okay, I'm done.
Yes, sir.
Captain Ford, let me assure you of one thing. In 2017, it was 2017 when it was changed. We went to impasse in 2021 with the same thing we're doing now, with no problem. In 2017, we got in a room. The city attorney now, Ms. Gibson, our attorney, the police's attorney, and the city attorney, Ms. Sink at that time. We spent 3 days in there working on revamping this impasse order, where y'all didn't have to put the ball in the wheel and do it and all that. That was one of the changes. All these other changes were done. It worked fine last time. I don't know what in the world happened this time.
That's what we want to figure out. Appreciate you.
All right, just to reiterate, this item will be sent to full council without recommendation. Anything else before the impasse committee? We're adjourned.
Johnson. Today we'll be hearing from both the administration and the IAMAW. Each side will be given 15 minutes to present, I hope. We can get through the presentations, and then we'll have Q&A and discussion after that. And then we will make a vote to determine our recommendation, and we will begin the presentation with the Division of Human Resources. Director?
Hello, I'm Fonda Fouché, Chief Human Resources Officer.
My name is Alex Gaffney. I'm the EDI coordinator.
And today we're going to present the IAMAW Impasse presentation for the City of Memphis.
There we go.
So just to go over the roles and responsibilities, the association, they are advocates for their members. The administration is advocate for all employees and citizens, and the city council would choose the package that is in best interest of the citizens. We met 3 times during the March 2024 labor negotiations process to discuss wages only. At the negotiations deadline on March 28th, the city's last best offer was a 2% wage increase and a $1,500 bonus. IAMAW rejected and made their last best offer of 7%. After reviewing internal equity, the city revised its offer in the total economic package, which is permissible according to the ordinance number 5639 to avoid impasse between the parties. IAMAW did not accept the city's total economic package, and we were unable to reach an agreement. Ordinance number 5639 says that the mayor has 7 days before his proposed budget to give his total economic package to the associations, and the associations have 48 hours to decide whether or not they accept the city's total economic package. So the impasse items for this association was Article 33 wages. The city's total economic package was a 3% increase for FY25 and a $1,500 bonus, a one-time bonus to be paid from vacancies in FY24. Their total economic package was a 7% increase on July 1, 2024. This is a slide from Mayor Young's budget presentation that just shows that this is a budget dedicated to people, with 72% of the total budget being dedicated to people and employees. It is the city's position that all city employees should receive the same percentage increase for 1 year only. Mayor Young focused on creating a balanced budget that was fair for all employees. A higher increase for one group would create compression and other inequities, and a higher increase would create challenges for future budgets. The financial impact to the city, with the city's proposal, the 3% wage increase, the $1,500 bonus paid from FY24 is an average equivalent percentage of 5.5% and will cost the city $197,666. The 7% increase proposed by IAMAW would cost about $465,429, and that because it includes compression. And the difference in the FY25 proposals is $267,000. Just to talk about a little bit about retention, the city does not face any challenges with retaining the machinist employees. We have not had any resignations in 2023. The council's decision is that we ask the council to agree with our position that IAMAW should not receive a higher raise than other city employees and only approve an increase for 1 year. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll hear from the union.
Hello, my name is Chris Harrington. I'm the business representative for the IMAW District 1888 and Local Lodge Number 3.
Andre Gibson, the president of Local 3.
First off, I'd like to thank y'all for allowing us this time to come before y'all. I know it's tough sitting here. I'm not going to go through a bunch of slides or anything like that. I sent you basically everything I want to talk about. For several years, we have represented the machinists, which are, in y'all's case, the mechanics, automotive restoration, welders. Basically anything that runs gas through it, we work on it. I don't disagree with what the city has said. No one group is any more important than the other group, but we have been left behind in years past, and we are trying to catch up because of retention factors. And I understand the council has a difficult job ahead of them, because y'all are not only you're not just representing these workers here, you're representing full citizens of the city of Memphis. I could go into a lot of different facts and figures of UPS, private entities, all of those kind of things, but we're not up against private entities. We are, but that's not where we lie, because we represent a municipality here, and dealing with municipalities is different than dealing with private industry. Private industry is able to make a profit where I believe no city is making a profit. They should be investing back into the citizens that vote them in there, and I'm sure this council is all about investing in the citizens of Memphis. And with that investment, as we go forward, where we look at is that, no police car goes out without our guys working on it, no fire truck, no garbage truck, and those are the big three. You expect your police to be a little bit late just because they're reactionary. You don't want them to be, but they are. It's not their fault. They're waiting on calls. Fire department, you hope they're not late. But y'all let the garbage truck don't go out for a couple of weeks because it doesn't get worked on. And you've got a major problem here in the city. And these guys are the guys that keep those things going. And I do disagree with the one fact that the city brought across, that there's not been anyone that has left. I believe we've had 3. Is that not correct, Andre? 3 here recently that have left. We could go into the Lockton survey where it shows how much we're behind other cities. There are a few instances where we are actually above in the automotive restoration and the welders. Those are 6 total employees, basically, for us. In the trucks, truck mechanics, fire mechanics, all of those situations where the majority of our members work. We are steadily behind cities of the similar size, but the ones that are even more important are the local small entities, which is who your direct competition is. And that's the problem that we see going forward. And this is some of the talks that we've had with the city is, how do we retain our workers? Well, we have to pay them. Most people that go into working for a city government, they know that the pay is not going to be as good as what a private entity is, just because of what I told you before. There's no profits to be made because everything should go back into the citizens. There's no profits to be made. So how do you make up for that? You make up for it with benefits, things like that. Those things have already been cut. So these guys are looking at this, and I can go over here and make $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 more. So how did we come up with our numbers of 7%? We looked on the low end is basically, we was behind on the low end about 9.5%. On the high end, about 14.5%. So in the interest of course, we asked for all of it to start with, like any good negotiator would. We're going to ask for everything we can get. But we knew we wasn't going to end up there because that wouldn't be good for us as much as it would be for the city. So what we did was we come down, we looked at what the city was offering. And at first they were offering, what was it, 2.5, I think, 2 and 1,500. And we ended up coming down to 7, which was below the 9.5 where we was wanting to stay. So we ended up coming down to 7%. on a total increase across for our guys because we had seen where we had fallen behind in years past. So the numbers that they came up with are exact numbers that I came up with as offering their total economic package at the end was 3%. With a $1,500 bonus, you turn that over into real wages, which is where we're at. We want to be in real wages because a $1,500 bonus, a one-time bonus, is a tax liability. I mean, don't get me wrong, we love money. We'll take money, but we'd rather have it year over year. And I understand that money y'all found that in the budget. There were some budgetary items that obviously didn't get taken care of in this budget cycle. So you're able to roll that money out instead of rolling it into the next year's budget. You're going to spend it on bonuses. I understand that, and that's great. But we'd like to see it in real time wages for our employees. So they come up with 5.5%. That's what I came up with, and we're just asking for 7, just because we want to retain workers. We want to keep the trucks. We want to keep the fire trucks. We want to keep the police cars. We want to keep everything running for the city. These guys that work for y'all are not only your workers, they're also your citizens. We don't want to if we ask for too much and you give us too much, what do you got to do? How do you raise money? How do you get money for a city? You got to raise taxes. Nobody wants that. Well, these guys may get a raise, but then they're going to pay it back to the city in taxes. So that's not where we're at either. So what we're really asking for is just to be able to retain the workers that we need, and that's the reason why we come off of the 9% and got it down to the 7. And so I would comment to Councilman Carlisle if he was here. I saw some city council footage of him explaining to the city that it's time for them to pay their workers. And I agree with him wholeheartedly. It's time for the city to pay their workers. I believe it was over these issues right here. So with that, that's all that's really where we're at. I understand y'all's issues, and I understand that the frustration that y'all have in dealing with budgetary items. I do. I get it. I deal with them myself. I haven't told not many people know this, but I'm a city councilman myself, so I do understand what you're going through. So, yeah, I have one of these meetings Thursday I've got to go to, so I can't wait. But I understand where y'all are at, and I just hope that you can see to reward the employees of the machinist as they continue to keep your fleet running. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Logan, do you have any questions?
I wanted, when you said on the bottom 9 and on the high 14, where
did we get those numbers?
Yes.
Sorry. They come from your survey, from the survey the city sent out. So if you go through I sent those all in emails to you, so you will see that on the low end of some of the things we're 9.5% behind. On the high end, 14.5%. And you'll see some green in there too. I'm not just waiting, but those are 6 employees. You know, we are ahead on welders' pay. We are ahead on automotive restoration, and I believe Andre told me we had 2 or 3 welders and 3 automotive restoration, auto body workers. So for the bulk of our people, that's where we're at. And we knew 14.5%. That's not doable. That's just not doable. You know, that's not a figure that we can expect the city to come across with.
Okay, thank you.
I will reiterate, because we're at a new impasse hearing, that I don't believe that we should be offering one-time bonuses. We should be offering raises that are consistent throughout the year. That is how we show our employees we value them, we are investing in them. This is another instance, you know, I think we've all said we don't want to be here, and looking at the dollar number, not that $267,000 is anything to sneeze at, but in the grand scheme of our budget, it is disheartening that we could not come together and find middle ground here. I am concerned that when I look through the survey, we're behind some of our local municipalities. You know, we've talked all day. You know, some of us have been here through a lot of these today. Some of us lucky people. And we've talked all day about losing people that we've trained and our local talent to the outside municipalities. And I see Germantown a little higher on a lot of these. And it's not a ton higher, but there are other things going on in the city of Memphis that are making people consider moving to the suburbs. And we don't need wages to be another one of those things. I agree with you that investing in these wages is investing in the citizens of Memphis because our employees are citizens, and it is also an investment in police and fire and our garbage pickup. Those are all top priorities of the administration per their budget presentation. So I would think, again, that we could bridge this $267,000 gap. I will also note, just for the record, that over the last 9 years, it looks like the total increases have been at 8.5%, and the actual inflation rate over that same time is about 8.4%. So we have just held everybody steady. We have not actually increased anyone's wage. I know it seems like more dollars going in, but when eggs and gas and everything in the whole wide world costs more, it's just the same. That's all we've done since 2014. That's as far back as I have a record of. So I don't think this is a huge ask. I think that, you know, if I could have my wish, I would just put you back in a room and say, figure it out. But that's not where we are. And so I think it is up to Councilwoman Logan and I to see if we can reach some agreement. Otherwise, it's going to go down with no recommendation again. Do you have a motion before I move on anything? Defer to you.
I feel, I do feel like I totally agree with you, and that's one of the things that we've been talking about this entire budget season, is making certain that we can pay a fair wage. And even when the last council, we talked about that and making certain that our people can do what they need to do. And so and I know the state we're in, though. So in the state of this city, and so we are gonna have to invest in our. They're gonna need to be able to. Oh, thank you. Be able to meet the budget. So, there might have to be middle ground.
Well, I would make a motion if we're trying to reach the middle ground, if you're open, because I only have one person here, that we send it down with a recommendation of 6%.
How would that?
Sorry. Oh, one or the other. Well, then we can.
Yeah.
Since we don't have a third.
Right.
Yeah. Hold on, I have to find my language. I have to find my language to put me. Yeah, I mean, I think it puts us in a hard place without a third person here. So.
And it has to be one or the other. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that is.
So I guess then I move that we send it down without a recommendation and attach the proposals.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will have it for review and decision by the full council on the 21st in our regular agenda. I think that gives you both a fair chance at this,
right.
With more council members. I also know it gives you a little time.
Just in case.
In case anybody wants to come to an agreement between now and the 21st, we wouldn't hate it. She seconded. And all those in favor? Aye. I just think that's, the fairest thing for us to do without at least a third here. And, you know, I think Councilwoman Logan and I have both said we think this is something that's worthy for our citizens to be investing in, and you're just not that far apart. We have some other groups that might be further apart on some other issues. This is not one of them. And we're hopeful that we can work out a budget where we can prioritize our citizens and our citizen employees.
And
Anything further?
you are a priority. We just want to make sure that have opportunity to show that in the
Yeah.
budget.
And also, just for the record, through administration, we would love to pay everybody, at least market, rate.
Mhm.
I mean, from HR, from a recruitment and retention standpoint, it makes our job easier if we can recruit and retain great talent. So I just wanted to be on a record that we wish we were in a better financial situation as well.
Yeah, and I mean, you do feel our pain. That's something that we're going to have to work through, because if our surrounding areas can figure it out, we got to figure it out too.
Because it's hard for us to compete fill jobs, because we're competing with MLGW, Blue Oval, even Shelby County, Germantown, Arlington.
I know, I keep getting
So,
in trouble for my other job.
So it's not that we don't want to.
And I hope you didn't hear that. That's not what
Yeah.
we're saying. We totally get it. We're on the same. All of us are on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
We just everybody wants to make sure that they have their fair share. And so wherever, this time, hopefully, like you said, maybe come to some type of agreement. If not, when it goes down, we'll have, more voices and thoughts on it to speak to it. So thank you all for understanding.
So one of the things that we are in our position is that we're very close, like you said. I think we're very close, and we could be a lot closer.
Yeah.
I think the bonus is the thing that's holding us up.
Yeah.
I think if we could get that into real wages,
Yeah.
and come work somewhere between that point and our point, we could come to an agreement.
Yeah, and
I think it's
I
the real
understand your
wages.
point about why that was the offer and not the other way. But I will reiterate again, there is a cost to losing employees. There's a cost to recruiting employees. And so when we talk about, well, it'll cost us this much in healthcare benefits or in pension benefits, et cetera, if you never factor in what it costs to recruit new employees and the talent that you lose, then you're not really addressing the actual cost. So we need to make sure we're factoring that in as well. And I don't mean like the marketing budget or the recruiting budget. I mean your job, the headache that it causes you to have to continue to post and plead and, and work through budgets every year to try to get people to come work for the city of Memphis. So, and I hope that, like she said, we're all Team Memphis here, and we appreciate that these people are giving their lives, in public service to other public servants, right? To our police and fire and to the people who pick up our trash every week. That's important stuff to make our city run. What they're doing is important, and we're gonna. I feel like this is my most hopeful impasse that I've done today, and that.
for coming today. Good afternoon. Today is May 14th, 5 p.m., and I call the ASME Impasse meeting to order. Mr. Wilson, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Cooper Sutton. Present. And Chairman Warren.
Present. Today we'll be hearing from both administration and ASME. Each side will be given a maximum of 30 minutes to present. At the end of presentations, there'll be 30 minutes for questions, and afterwards, we will vote our recommendation. We'll begin with the presentation from the Division of Human Resources. Chief Fouché, you're presenting, name and address for the record. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Fonda Fouché, Chief Human Resources Officer, 125 North Main.
My name is Alex Gaffney. I'm the EDI coordinator at 125 North Main.
You may proceed. And timer is going.
Great. I am here today to present the city's impasse presentation for ASME. Just kind of want to go over the roles and responsibilities. The association, they are the advocate for their members. The administration is an advocate for all employees and the citizens. And the city council would choose the package that is in the best interest of the citizens. So I just want to talk a little bit about the process. We met 5 times during the March 2024 labor negotiations process to discuss wages only. At the negotiations deadline on March 28, the city's last best offer was a 2% wage increase and a $1,500 bonus. ASME rejected and made their last best offer of 5% and a $5,000 bonus. After reviewing internal equity, the city revised its offer in the total economic package, which is permissible in accordance to the ordinance number 5639 to avoid impasse between the parties. ASME did not accept the city's total economic package. ASME and the city continued discussions, but we were unable to reach an agreement. And in ordinance number 5639, it does say that at least 7 days before the mayor presents his proposed budget to the council, the mayor or his designee shall advise the employee associations of the city proposed total economic package. After that, the association has 48 hours to notify the city in writing if they accept the total economic package. Impasse items for ASME was wages only. The city's total economic package was a 3% increase for FY25 and a one-time $1,500 bonus to be paid from vacancies in FY24. ASME total economic package was 5% increase on July 1, 2024, and a $5,000 one-time bonus. This is a slide from Mayor Young's budget presentation, and it just shows that this is a budget dedicated to people. 72% of the total budget is dedicated to employees. It is the city's position that all cities' employees should receive the same percentage increase for 1 year only. Mayor Young focused on creating a balanced budget that was fair to all employees. A higher increase for one group would create compression and other inequities, and a higher increase would create challenges for future budgets. The next slide shows the financial impact. The city's proposed cost for the 3% wage increase and the $1,500 bonus is an average equivalent percentage of 6.6%, and it comes to $1.3 million. The ASME proposal is a 5% wage increase and a $5,000 bonus, and that total cost would be $6.6 million. And so the difference in the two proposals is over $5.2 million. So it is the council's decision to make the decision on the city's decision or the union's decision. We ask that council agree with our position that ASME should not receive a higher raise than other city employees and only approve an increase for 1 year. And we say 1 year is because all of the books will be open again, next year for negotiations. Thank you. Any questions?
I think we'll save the questions to the end and get both presentations. Yeah, you have, that was 4 minutes, you have 26 minutes left. Okay, brevity is good, you've been practicing. Okay, and for Ask Me, please introduce yourself, name and address for the record, and you may begin. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jane Billinger. I am AFSCME's chief negotiator. My address is 485 Beale Street, Memphis, Tennessee.
Go right ahead.
Okay. So I know that my colleague Kenny handed out printed copies of our presentation today. I also have it on PowerPoint. Is it the committee's preference that I share my screen? You want to look at your handout? I'm flexible to do either.
Please share your screen. That way people who are watching will be able to see it.
Definitely. Give me one moment and we'll get set right up. All right. And if people could just confirm if they do see it.
Confirm, see it.
Looks good.
All right. Excellent. So first, before I get rolling, I just want to thank the committee for allowing me to present and join you all virtually today. I'm joined today by Adrian Rogers, who is the president of AFSCME Local 1733, and Kenny Ingram, who is the executive director of AFSCME Local 1733. So first off, just a recap of AFSCME's total economic package. We proposed as our last best and final offer on March 28th, that effective July 1, 2024, each employee covered by all of the MOUs, the 5 separate MOUs covered by AFSCME, would receive 5% increase to their current hourly wage and a one-time $5,000 bonus. Our reasoning for the increase plus a bonus was to lift up the floor for all AFSCME employees by having a larger increase to their base hourly wage, and then that larger bonus to help make them whole for lower wages that they've historically had over the last year and how they've fallen behind from inflation, the rising costs in the city of Memphis, which we'll get through in the presentation today. So just as some background of what AFSCME was considering when we were creating our proposals, is it is always our goal to help the city be strong fiscal stewards of the budget and the revenue that is brought in from the citizens' tax dollars. We don't want to propose things that we feel are out of hand or too large or would bind the city into a situation that they couldn't afford. So when we prepared our proposals, these were the 4 factors that we considered in making our reasoning and justification for the proposal that we made. I'll go into all of these in depth, but first is that we've seen that revenues have increased substantially since fiscal year 2020. The city consistently ends each year with an overall surplus that adds into its unrestricted fund balance or its rainy day fund. And that fund balance exceeds the minimum recommendations. It's actually quite strong and healthy. And then finally, the city consistently comes in under budget on its expenditures, and it also overestimates its revenues, which indicates to us that there's flexibility to absorb additional cost without cutting services. So first off, with revenue growth, the city's growth has been substantial and consistent over the previous 4 years. I do want to acknowledge that in fiscal year 2021, the primary reason for that significant growth was COVID aid from the federal government, but we saw that 22 compared to 20 and then 23 compared to 2020 were consistent. Over the 4 years, the city's revenues increased 7.4%, and just between fiscal year 2022 and 2023, the city's revenues increased 3.25%. This is considered extremely healthy growth for a city of Memphis's size. As I stated, the city consistently ends each year with a year-end surplus. The bars are the dollar amount of the surplus that went into the fund balance. And then the orange line shows the percentage of it compared to revenue. And so you can see that in each year, it was at least $10 million for the past 3 years. Fiscal year 2020 did end in a deficit. Next, we saw that there was that history of significant budget variances. For expenditure variance, it's a positive thing if they're spending less than the city is budgeting. And for revenue, it's a positive thing if they're bringing in more than they expected. And we see it with these charts. The orange line is what the actual amount that the city experienced in its fiscal year. And the blue line is what they expected in the final budget passed by the city council. The city is underspending its budget, and it's underestimating the amount of money that it's receiving. This indicates to us an extreme amount of flexibility in both revenues and expenditures to take on more recurring costs. And then the final one is that the city has maintained a very strong and healthy reserve fund. The state of Tennessee recommends maintaining an unrestricted fund balance at 17% of revenues in its local government budget recommendations. And the city has exceeded the state's recommendation for unrestricted fund balance for the last 4 years. This means that the city could not bring any revenues in for 2 months and still be able to cover all expenses that needed to happen in that 2-month period. It's a really strong indicator of financial strength and flexibility, and indicates to us that now the city could be in a place where instead of putting money into the reserve fund, which is a goal that we agree with, we agree that the city should maintain a healthy reserve fund, but now those additional dollars that they're having in surplus each year can work for the citizens of Memphis, which is why we proposed the wage increase that we did. When we were considering our proposal, we also looked at recruitment and retention. If you've tuned into the Impasse hearings throughout today, this is what every union has been talking about so far. Recruitment and retention is an issue for the city. As of March 2024, the city of Memphis budgeted for 992 AFSCME represented positions, but 141 positions were unfilled. That's 14% of the budgeted positions that they were ready to pay and provide benefits for that went unfilled. And from our understanding, talking to many members throughout our union, those positions have been unfilled for years. There's a significant recruitment problem, and as years go on, it becomes harder and harder for people to want to stay. What we also saw was that there's 4.3 open positions for every one unemployed individual in Tennessee. This means in Shelby County, in the city of Memphis, and throughout the state, people have a lot of options when they're looking for a new job. They are able to be patient and find the right job for them that has the pay and benefits that works for their family. And so when thinking about what's bringing people into the city employment, what's bringing them to work for the city of Memphis, you have to consider, are their wages and benefits competing with what's in the area? We also saw in 2023 that average weekly wages in Shelby County increased 7.1%. In contrast, AFSCME received a 2% increase in July 1, 2023. And so when you're sitting there and your budget's tight and you're trying to cover your expenses, you're seeing that people elsewhere in the county are making and earning more than you each year. We've also seen since 2014 that inflation has significantly outpaced AFSCME raises. I've included here the national inflation rate and the Southern Region inflation rate as calculated by the Department of Labor, Bureau of Labor Statistics, which examines what the cost increases are on those items that you purchase at the store, how they compare to the month before, the year before, the decade before. And what we've seen is that the national rate of inflation was 30.25%. Since the start of the current MOU in July 2022, the national rate of inflation was 4.74%. The Southern Region inflation actually outpaced the national rate, which at 5.4%. In contrast, since 2014, AFSCME increases have been compounded to 8.7%, and AFSCME increases just in this current contract have compounded to 4.04%. So AFSCME wages are significantly further behind than they were just 2 years ago, and they're significantly further behind what they were a full decade ago. Again, I want to emphasize that our 5% raise is our goal to help lift up the floor. We're not claiming that our proposal is going to solve all the wage issues that our members are experiencing, but it will alleviate some of the issues that they are experiencing right now. The $5,000 bonus, in addition to the 5% increase, is to help make them whole for the decreasing length their dollars can go over the past decade. Just as I just want to highlight the union raises that have been provided to City of Memphis unions since 2016. We don't go back to 2014 on this slide, even though we went back to 2014 on the inflation slide, because there were no raises in 2014 and 2015. Those were both 0%. As you can see, AFSCME is on pace with operating engineers in the total base wage increase, but they're significantly lower than every single other union in their average wage. I want to flag that this average only reflects the salaries that were reflected in the locked-in survey, because those were the salaries I had ready access to to be able to calculate and show the difference. So what we see is that AFSCME, by and large, is paid significantly less than the rest of the city. We have some of the lowest paid employees under the City of Memphis. We have workers who are earning $16 an hour who are struggling to make their ends meet. We've heard from the city that one reason why they're wanting to make sure that the raise increase that they're applying across the city is equal is to avoid compression. However, since we're on average $14,000 lower than the next union, we don't feel that the issue of compression applies so much to AFSCME workers, because we're already so far below the market and so far below what everybody else is receiving. Here is what the living wage in Memphis looks like. And you'll notice that this salary number is different than the salary number on before, because this reflects the entire weighted average for the unit. And not just those 12 positions that were surveyed in the locked-in survey. The average weighted salary for AFSCME members is $41,567. However, the annual living wage, the salary that you need to earn for 2 members of a household, is $86,518. It's been increasingly difficult for members of AFSCME to continue to work for the City of Memphis and live in the City of Memphis, to survive in the City of Memphis. AFSCME workers work for the city because this is the city that they love. This is their home. They care about what's going on in the city, and every year it becomes harder and harder to survive doing that. Just yesterday, a report came out that renters need to earn 36% more than what they earned in 2019 to be able to keep rent at affordable levels. And as we discussed already, AFSCME workers have not kept pace at that. And so every year, their rent, their food, their childcare, it takes up more and more of their paycheck, and there's less and less to give because their wages aren't keeping pace. I referenced the locked-in survey earlier, but this was a wage and benefit survey that the city conducted across all unions and shared with us, so that way we could be able to justify and make reasonable proposals. And what we found was that 75% of AFSCME surveyed positions were under the local market, 67% of AFSCME positions were under the competitive market, and 67 positions were under the similar in scope market, which are places that have positions that have the same job descriptions as us. All 12 AFSCME positions surveyed fall within the 20 lowest paid positions surveyed by the locked-in survey, and AFSCME positions are 9 of the 10 lowest paid positions. Of the 12 positions that were surveyed under locked-in, that represents 503 AFSCME represented employees that are paid significantly below market. And I want to provide just a couple more numbers to make that a little more real. Office support clerks, which cross the entire city and support almost every operation of the city, they are paid 20% below the market. They're also some of the lowest paid earners, which we'll see on the next slide. Commercial building inspectors, which are people who walk into vacant and deprecate buildings to assess them, inspect them, and see what rehabilitation needs to happen, they are paid 85% below the local market. Solid waste crew people who go and make sure that the trash is picked up and that our streets are clean are paid 17% below the local market. When we talk about the mayor's goal that the mayor presented in their budget on April 23rd, and as an aside, we're really happy to hear about the mayor's goals about a safer and cleaner Memphis. That goal of having a cleaner Memphis cannot happen without adequately paying the people who keep the city clean. A cleaner Memphis comes with well-paid and supported AFSCME employees, because those are the people picking up the trash and mowing the medians and making sure that our parks are clean and ready to service the public, and inspecting all of the vacant buildings on how we can improve them. These positions here, these 12 positions on the screen, are the AFSCME surveyed positions that were placed into the locked-in survey. And I pulled these 12 positions just to stay consistent with the locked-in survey, but I also want to demonstrate the difference between AFSCME's proposal and the city's proposal. With AFSCME's proposal, and the annual salary for an office support clerk would go from $34,118 to $35,823. That's an annual difference of $682.36 over the city's position. To put it into even more starker numbers, per hour, that's an additional 33 cents per hour for each office support clerk if you were to accept AFSCME's proposal of 5%. Over a pay period, that would equal into $26.24 more per office support clerk if AFSCME's proposal was accepted. As you can see, the highest per hour difference between our proposal and the city's proposal is 49 cents for the commercial building inspector. We are proposing a larger amount than the city. And as the city stated, our total economic or financial impact is $6.6 million, which was a $5.2 million difference from the city's proposal. I want to flag that $4.3 million of that is a one-time cost, because that reflects the $5,000 bonus. The actual cost of the ongoing cost to the city through the 5% wage increase is $900,000, less than $1 million to give a significant amount of your workforce 40 cents more an hour. So to summarize, it is AFSCME's position that the city of Memphis can afford AFSCME's total economic package, without needing to make cuts in other services. AFSCME members have been left behind over the last decade in wages, and now are struggling to meet needs due to the high inflation and low wage increases. Increasing the pay of AFSCME's position benefits both recruitment and retention efforts by the city, and will help the city achieve its goal of a safer, cleaner Memphis. I thank the committee for its time, and I am open for any questions the committee members may have.
Thank you. And you have, that was 23 minutes. I think you have 7 minutes left, so that was good. Thank you. Do we have any questions? Councilwoman Cooper Sutton never has a question, but go ahead this time.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. And to sit here and to listen to this, you can only reflect back to 1968, why MLK was here, and that was for our economic packet. And we are still here in 2024, here in Memphis, Tennessee, still trying to fight for economic package that would be suitable and feasible for anyone to have a decent living, decent wages, and for the work that these incredible men and women do every day. Saddens me that our wage has not even remotely meet standard of qualification. And when I think about the position that I'm in and the position that you're in, and when I think about the position that everyone in this city is in, it saddens me because we are so far behind. We are so far behind, and we have not done the city of Memphis fairly to our employees in any shape, form, or fashion. The $5,000 bonus, could you kind of reflect back to me on that? What was that for, the $5,000 bonus?
The actual position of the $5,000 bonus was to help as an attempt to help make workers whole for the lower wages that they've had and the decreasing length their wages can go over the last decade. Is an acknowledgement that their wages have not kept up with inflation, have not kept up with their needs, and acknowledgement that here is a one-time opportunity to alleviate some of that pressure.
Would this be a one-time bonus?
Yes.
Okay. And the 5%, how did you come up with the 5%? Why 5%?
We had a long discussion about this because it was AFSCME's goal to really try to make as impactful of a wage increase as possible. We landed on 5% after a lot of discussion, after hearing the city and reviewing the city finances and trying to determine what can make us get a reasonable step forward now that the city could afford. And so 5% felt like the most effective spot where we could still make a change, could still make a difference, but not impact the city's overall finances. We wanted to thread that needle.
And I see that we are still 141 vacancies. Is that what you said?
That was the vacancy count as of March 2024.
Okay, 141.
It's my understanding there hasn't been any significant hiring in the last 6 weeks. So unless Ms. Boucher or Mr. Gaffney have something else to offer, my expectation is that that rate is still comparable to what the current situation is.
What is the highest paying rate person being paid now?
I have that right here. Let me pull up the correct spreadsheet.
While you're doing that, I think one of the things that was presented to us that we're looking at was we're planning on hiring a bunch more people into this department. And I'm wondering, as we're looking at the number of people we're hiring, are those figures included in this total budget that was presented by AFSCME? Do you have the new hires, if we are actually able to get new hires, what that would do to this budget as we move forward? Do we have that information, or can we calculate that out to tell us what that would be? Because I think part of what we wanted to do is we wanted to bring more people in, and in order to bring more people in, the question is, you need to give more money to bring more people in, and how much is that really going to cost? Because I don't think we're talking about what we were asked as council members to do as far as hiring more people, as far as those total numbers are concerned. So go ahead now. I just wanted to have them working on that.
Yeah. So to answer Council Member
Cooper Sutton.
Cooper Sutton, sorry. I knew it was Cooper Sutton or Sutton Cooper, so I really appreciate that, and I apologize for
I am
forgetting
bad
your
with
name
names.
at the
I'll
moment.
help anybody out.
You're fine.
Oh, thank you. The highest wage rate represented by AFSCME is $31.98, and that is for 23 special equipment operator 2s. And I can do some quick math for you as well. The 5% increase would take them to $33.57, which would be an annual salary of $69,844, which, if you recall on that slide that I had up and that you have printed out for you, that shows the average salary for the other units. Barely for that one position brings them to what some of the highest paid unions are paid on average.
Thank you.
As for the question about did AFSCME plan and put into the budget any expectation for those positions to be hiring, we didn't for the bonuses, as those would go, my understanding is that the bonuses would go into effect on July 1, be paid out of the fiscal 24 budget, out of funding covered that was created through vacancies. So folks would have to be hired by that point to receive that funding, which is the bulk of our economic package. As for filling those additional vacancies, if I just do some quick math right now, it was an average of $40,000 as their annual salary. A 5% raise would be an additional $2,000, and $2,000 additional for 141 employees would be $282,000 if AFSCME was at 100% filled rate. And that's very quick math, but I hope it gets across the point that it would, the city is already budgeting for these positions, so it would only take on an additional $282,000, which would really bring the ongoing cost only to like around $1.1 million for those workers.
I'm in the middle of a meeting right now, so you can go.
He's a doctor.
Sorry about that. That was a patient call. It's better if they text me. So go ahead and say that again because I was interrupted.
Yeah, no worries. So the city already budgets for those additional 141 positions. Those are positions that the city already expects to pay wages and benefits for, but because they're unfilled, they essentially become a cost savings for the city. So assuming that in the city's calculation, they were continuing to budget for all 992 total employees, the 5% increase would only reflect a $282,000 additional cost, bringing AFSCME's total ongoing cost to $1.1 million.
Does that include their regular salaries, or that's just the bonus you're talking about? Because as we bring other people on, that's not including their normal salaries, correct?
So it doesn't include the bonus at all. The bonus is a one-time $4.3 million. And so unless everybody was hired in the next 6 weeks, all 140 positions, they wouldn't be eligible for the bonus. The $1.1 million reflects the additional cost as a result of the 5% increase. So $1.1 million more than what the city is paying in salaries currently, or budgeting for salaries currently.
Thank you. Any other questions, Councilwoman?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you guys. I think what's been going on and what I've heard is we have decided to move all of these things to our next meeting without recommendation. I appreciate your presentations today. I think what's interesting is just seeing it's almost like with our police department, when we didn't recruit people for 3 years, we got into a hole. And I think when you have wages going up at 0 and inflation going up at 2.5 or whatever it is, all of a sudden what looked like a really decent job for people that they could raise their family on gets harder and harder to raise their family on. And I think as a council and as a city, we're going to have to look at how do we pay people fairly for doing the jobs we need them to do if we want the jobs done. And, people are saying we don't need a 75-cent tax increase. And I'm looking at it and saying, well, if we don't, how do we possibly pay people to do their jobs? So as we're moving forward for figuring out what to do with this, and we'll be having, I'm sure our colleagues arguing, we can do this for less of a tax increase by cutting here, cutting there. My question is, you guys who've been doing the job forever, how do we keep keeping you at 0 and keeping you doing the job? Everyone's complaining our city's dirty, okay? And, it doesn't make any sense to me to move and not figure out how we can pay people to actually come and clean it. So administration, you want backing for your tax increase. Some of what you may need to end up doing is figuring out, okay, what can we really do here? What I like about your proposal, it's a $5,000 bonus. And the issue is when you don't know what you're going to have coming in next year and you don't know what the economy is going to be, it's much better to give a smaller raise and a large bonus, because the next year you know, you don't have that same fixed cost. And if you have less income, the economy has a downturn, you're not in trouble and you don't have to give people wage cuts. Okay, you don't have to cut wages because you've got them. And when you have good years, you get bonuses. People can appreciate that and realize we had a good year. And that's a sign that you're working together. So you're like not trying to get a 15, 20% wage increase, but the city's saying, we value you, let's give you money while we can. So as we negotiate further, that would be my thinking, that we should try to make that our type of idea, that what we're doing is we really can't afford to guarantee a 15 or 10% wage increase, even though the inflation's been that. We can't afford it because we don't know where we are. We already found a bunch of big holes in the budget that we're going to have to patch with part of this tax increase. So how do we fix it to make our employees know that we value them? Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think in the presentation with solid waste, there is an increase included in that? Is that correct? A pay increase?
That's solid waste.
Okay.
This is for,
Whole nother, okay. Well, I concur with that $5,000 bonus. At least you have something to weigh in on. And I know for sure that you all work hard. I've been in the trenches with you all, and I've seen what you all are doing. And it's just hard to see that we're so far behind, that you all are so far behind for all the hard work that you all have been doing and are doing. And when I think about it, I just keep saying that it's heart-wrenching. But I'm going to concur with Dr. Warren. We're going to go without any recommendation.
Okay, I'll take that as a motion, and I want to second
Yes.
it. We're going to have a vote to
A
send
vote?
it down
Yes.
without recommendation. All those in favor, say aye. And to attach both proposals going downstairs. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's the chair's opinion that the ayes have it. So thank you both for your presentations, and thank you both for your hard work trying to make this work.
Let Ms. Bellinger know that'll be on the 21st at the 3:30 meeting if she wants.
Okay, this will be on the 21st at the 3:30 meeting.
If you need to make plans to travel.
Okay, yeah, if you want to be here for your presentation.